All right, so let's try something a little different here. Let's add a box. So what we're going to do is tap here, and we're going to change the division X, or it's actually to 0. So we'll change that to 0. See how it looks weird? That's because I have smooth shading on, so let's turn that off. Okay, so now it just looks like a regular cube. So first we're just going to make this sort of grid, which looks like cinder blocks or something. Validate our box. And then we can go to our scene, add, and we can add an array. So we'll add an array, and right now it's going this way, which we could do it that way also, but I want to make it go up. So let's put the X to 1, and the Y, let's put it to 5. Okay, and you can see that it looks a bit strange, and that's because of the spacing. So this is the spacing of them. So I go like that, and then you can see all 5. So let's just make them kind of close. So I'm going to do 4.042. All right, I got to kick my cat out. Hold on a second. Go on, go on. Rascal. Can never get anything done at night. Everything's always trying to bother me, I swear. Okay, so now we have a little bit of spacing. So essentially this is array. All we did was array 1 cube, and you can make however many that you need. All right, so now we can take both of these, validate, and join children. So now we have an array, which is 1 row. We can add an array, and now it's going off that way. So let's make 5 of them. So this is X. So see right now, the reason it's doing that is because of fit inside. So if we turn that off, then they should just fan out. But if you have fit inside, it's going to try to fit inside. Let's say if I make 2 and do fit inside, it's going to try to fit inside those 2. So let's go 5. Let's take off fit inside. Oh, I guess you have to do it beforehand. Oh well. God. So we'll turn that off, and then we'll do 5. And we just need to change the offset. Do we want to do that, or do we want to do a little closer? Okay, so I think that's pretty good. Okay, so that's pretty much the background. That's how we do that. So now let's make these arches. So we're going to use cylinders for that. So we'll go to our scene, add, also we can take these and validate them. And this is going to be our wall. So now let's add a cylinder. So the cylinder, I think, is actually, we can't see it right now because of this. So I want to put this in the center of the scene. So I'm going to hit grid. If you don't see your grid, if you hit front and you don't see it, go here and go to orthographic. That'll be much easier for something like this. So the middle of the scene is actually here on this first brick. So what we need to do is make sure that you have that selected. Go to gizmo. And right now it's in the middle. You can go pivot, center, pivot. If it's not, it should be in the middle. And then you can go to the gizmo options and hit move origin. Okay, we'll hit front. So now the middle is at the middle of the project. So I'm just going to move it up so it's right on that red line. Any project I do, that red line is always like the ground or the floor. So now we can see our cylinder. So we'll go over here to snap, and I have it on 45. Yeah, you can keep it at 45. We're going to need it at 45 later. So we'll just snap this forward twice. So it's like this. We can bring it out. We can stretch it out like that. And we can make it bigger. Also, I have post-process on just because it makes it a bit easier to see. But actually I should turn it off because everything always works better if you have post-process off. So I'm going to turn it off. And sometimes I use a matte cap. I don't know if it's actually easier to see with this. It might be, but that's okay. We'll continue like this. So now what I want to do is make this cylinder the size of like the opening. So we'll go about here. I think that's pretty good. And now what we need to do is stretch this, but we don't want to stretch it this way because it does that. We want to kind of stretch it like so it looks like a pill almost. So the way to do that, remember we rotated it. So now the top and the bottom is, see this blue ring? So we want the top and the bottom to separate. I know that might be confusing, but let's make it make sense. So first we're going to go to the cylinder options and make sure, not the cylinder options, we're going to go here to the materials and turn smooth shading off. Okay, I'm going to turn the grid off. So now that we have it kind of the size that we want, let's stretch it. So let's go ahead and validate. And then what we want to do is make sure we're on the gizmo. We want to hit symmetry. We're going to go to vertex and hit vertex. And then we want to go to the symmetry options. And we want to go to Z. We can turn X off. We want to go to Z. So remember, see this ring? Z is the top and the bottom. So if you use the arrow, this should stretch. And if not, that's okay. Go back to symmetry. Let's do local. And then it should stretch. All right, so we'll just stretch this like this using the arrow. Okay, we can look at the front. And maybe we want it to be a little bit higher. It's kind of hard to see. A little bit higher, maybe to about there. I think is good. All right, so that's pretty good. So now we have our little object there, our cylinder. Let's clone it and hide. I always do that in case I either mess up or I need it again, but I always do that. Okay, so now we'll go to the cylinder and we need to do a boolean. So a boolean will take this shape and cut it out of another shape. So we have the wall, so let's select them both and hit this little eye, and now the cylinder is hidden. Now if you can't do that, if it gets all weird, just go to advanced and make sure it looks like this. You might have to uncheck this. Okay, so now that we have those selected, we can just hit boolean, boolean, and now we have that clean cut. Okay, so now we can bring back our cylinder here. And let's go ahead and let's take trim. Let's use the rectangle here. And let's just trim the bottom. We'll leave some space on the bottom. We can clone it. And let's make it a little smaller with the gizmo. Whoops, I'm still in pivot. Let's make it, it's not in the center, is it? Pivot, center, pivot. Let's make it smaller and then stretch it so we can just see it. Maybe up a little higher. So maybe around there. So what I'm going to do is clone this, hide it, and now I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to select these. I'm going to boolean the smaller one. Boolean, boolean. Okay, so now we have something like that. And let's take this and let's just clone it and then make it smaller. We can stretch it out a bit more. Just make it a little bit bigger, I think. So we have something like that. Okay, let's go ahead and we can take both of these. I had to go back, and I always mess up when I'm doing tutorials. So let's make this smaller. like there. Maybe we'll bring this one out a little bit more. We'll stretch it like so. And these I'm just going to join. I'm just going to join them. And then I'll just use trim, and I'll just trim the bottom. Okay, pretty simple, not too bad. So then of course we have this other cylinder. I don't know what we want to do with it, but you can always try to figure out something creative to do with it. Maybe we, let's see, maybe we flip it. Whoops. Let's turn symmetry off and turn vertex back to auto. That way it kind of works as normal. Maybe we want to like do like a little detail or something. Or maybe it's inside, maybe it's like a light or something. And you can add a mirror. So then maybe you want to, maybe there's 2 lights instead of 1. You can turn snap off and maybe rotate them. So yeah, maybe that'll be the lights. So let's go ahead and take these and validate, and maybe these will be the lights. Okay, so the rest is really, really simple. We'll just add a box. We'll turn smooth shading off, and then we'll change the options so that this is at 0. The box topology is at 0, or division X. And now we can just make this box really big, flatten it. We'll do something like this. You can always clone it. And look at X-ray if you want to see how precise it is. Okay, so we do X-ray, something like that. And now we want to do the part on top. So we can probably just clone this, honestly. Let's clone that. I'm just going to take these 2 and join them. So this will be the base. This box will be the top A. And we'll just move it up, and then we'll just adjust it to taste. Like so, and let's clone it. Clone. Top B. Okay, so we'll make it a little smaller. I want to do something a little different for some reason. Oh, I'll do it another time. I was going to add like little arches or something, but I probably don't need to do that. Let's add another box. Smooth shading off. Put this to 0. Okay, and then we'll just clone, and maybe this one will mirror. Okay, and now let's do, so we'll validate those. And now let's do this part on top. So let's add a cylinder. We'll move it all the way up. Let's go ahead and turn smooth shading off. And let's rotate it towards us. So snap is still on. 45 degrees. We can make it a little thinner. So cylinders are really useful because, for example, you can take the division X and put it way down, and it really changes the shape. If you ever wanted to do a triangle, take a cylinder and put division X to 3. And that's how you do a triangle. But if you do 4, then it's a square, and you can do 5. So maybe we want something like this. So maybe we want one in the middle. So let's clone this so we can play around with it. So we have one in the middle. Let's validate it and stretch it maybe. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, that's the other one. And now we'll take this one that we cloned, and we can do mirror. And maybe we'll make these on the sides. Maybe we'll line them up with that. Something like that. And if you want, you can clone this, and maybe you can get some interesting shapes by just, playing with the scale and things like that. Here we go. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. So you can always play around with shapes like this. You can make all different kinds of shapes and things. Let's say you wanted to do like an awning. You can turn snap off. Change the pivot to the back of it, and then you can just rotate it like this. And you can maybe do some things hanging or make some lights, things like that. But of course, you can make up whole worlds like this, and a lot of them are pretty small. Like if you're conscious about it, you can use pretty low resolution because we have smooth shading off, so they're just like kind of solid shapes. But lots of fun. And you can do the cylinder, but you can make them. Let's see if I can do it really quick. Let's see. So we'll just do snap 45. We'll go like this. We'll turn smooth shading off, and we'll go to local. We'll change this to Z, so it's top and bottom. We'll stretch. Nope, wrong one. We want to stretch with the arrow. Oop, I forgot to validate, and I forgot symmetry, vertex, vertex. I do it a lot, so I'm used to it, but I still always forget dumb things like that. I feel like I still need to stretch it a little bit. Nah, I'll just keep it like that. Okay, so let's see. Let's call this awning dangly. I don't know what they're called, clearly. But we can put this back to normal. We can turn symmetry. Actually, we can leave symmetry on. Doesn't really make a difference. Whoops. Nope, we're going to turn it off. And I'm going to turn this back to X, which is the default. So now we can move it up, out. Let's make this small. It's a bit hard to see. I'm going to turn on post-process. It might be a little bit easier to see. Okay. So let's bring it up to the front. Actually, I don't mind it right there, actually. I don't mind that. If you have quad remesher, you can try to make it a little smaller. Let's look at the wireframe. And you might be able to make it a little smaller. Something like that. Maybe, yeah, that's good. 816 is decent. So now let's do this. Let's bring this all the way over here. And then let's add an array again. We'll adjust the size to there. And then we can increase the count. So this thing is in the way. So then we can increase the count we can use fit inside. Okay, I think that's pretty good. And I might have to adjust the size a little bit. But I think that's pretty good, actually. So I'm going to validate, join children. I'm going to turn the wireframe off. Whoops. And I'm going to, I think I'm going to move them up. And then I'm just going to take trim with rectangle. Make sure I hit front. And then I'm just going to trim. I think it's right about there. So now we have that front kind of awning. Okay. But yeah, but anyway, that's how you do, you know, that's it. This is a cool way to do sort of hard surface type modeling in Nomad. And I've made kind of like monster trucks. I'll pull it up if I can find it. I made a monster truck all by using different shapes like this. And remember, you can also use like the mask if you're trying to make something specific. Don't forget that you can use the mask tool, like let's say select mask, and you can, you know, you can mask something. Why won't you mask? Why won't you mask? Let me see. Why won't you mask? What's going on, bro? Oh, I wonder if, oh, now it masked. Why does it mask now? That's so strange. But anyway, you can mask. Now it doesn't mask anymore. Oh, you know what it is? It's probably because the resolution is so low. I think that's what it is. I think if I was to take this shape and if I was to voxel remesh it and give it more resolution, let's say like 150, I think then I would be able to use the select mask. So that's the reason it wasn't doing it, is because you know how sometimes the masks are really blurry? It's because it's low resolution. So if I increase the resolution, then I can do what I was trying to do. And you can do invert, and then you can take your gizmo and you can adjust these. You can make them smaller. You know, you can make the whole thing come to a point if you want. So there's lots of interesting things you can do with the mask. So let me go ahead and unmask. Lots of interesting cool shapes that you can make. I guess I'll leave it. It's kind of cool, I guess, right? It's kind of interesting. Let's keep the rectangle. And let's take this. I'm going to do show line and change. Let's go to local so I can see what I'm doing. Z, okay, front and back, that's what I want. So let's do this. Let's invert it. I want to take the mask and I want to mask off the bottom part, like underneath. I think that might have been. So now we can use the gizmo and we can do interesting things like this. So there you go. There's lots and lots and lots you can do. Have fun with it. Keep drawing, keep sculpting. I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Be sure to like and subscribe. And if you want to go more in depth, then definitely check out my Skillshare classes where I am a top teacher. I have about 50 classes, both Procreate and Nomad Sculpt. I also have a few classes on Udemy. So if you want to learn more, or you just like my style, you like the way I teach, or you want to support me, those are some other places that you can do it. Thanks again. Keep drawing, keep sculpting. I'll see you all in the next video.